You are welcome
It's
here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. So open your heart and listen. So open your heart and listen. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome to Unity of Flagstaff. I'm Reverend Penny Honey. It is my joy to greet you in alignment with the recommendation of the CDC. As you know, Unity of Flagstaff is not meeting at our facility. However, thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. I want to thank the amazing music team that has shown up and is supporting me this morning. The behind the scenes team that you can't see from there. Thank you, Josie. So it's good morning and it's God morning. What we know on the planet right now is people are being given the opportunity to consider a lot of different things. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of activity. But you've taken this moment, and we are honored to share this moment with you as you continue to explore the expression of your divinity. People all over the planet are doing that in different ways, and we support them in that. So thank you again for being with us here at Unity of Flagstaff. So obviously this will be a little different than normal, but when were we ever normal? So pray with me, won't you? We feel that collective energy surrounding us. We feel that connection, the connection that neither distance or time can impact. And we stand present to the spirit within each and every one of us. And we give thanks for the opportunity to be in community. God is right here. God is right there. So we accept this as it is in this moment. And we rest into. We invite and we invoke the expression of the divine within us. And we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. So just a couple of announcements. Obviously, everything that we're doing, we are going virtual. This Wednesday night, we will have our first virtual prayer circle. It will be on Zoom. That link will be available to you on our website. You're going to hear me say this a couple times, www.unityofflagstaff.org. Go to the website and you will find that Zoom link so that you can participate in our Wednesday virtual prayer circle. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're feeling right now. And we're going to pray together, coming together in consciousness, in prayer, and as a community. On Thursday, there will be a Thursday meditation moment. That will be at 6:30 on our YouTube channel. That is youtube.unityofflagstaff.org. So join us there for your meditation moment on Thursday. And then next Sunday, again, we will be here on this YouTube channel with our Sunday service. Just a little different way of doing life right now. And we're breathing into it. We're just breathing into it. So now I invite you into a time of meditation. Just quiet your minds, quiet your hearts.
As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me, my heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is, it brings me to my knees. I surrender, I am peace.
We are the voices, the faces, and the hands of peace. We breathe in the connection. We feel it across the miles, and we know that God is right here, right now, in this and all moments. So we feel that settling down, that calming of our breath, that connecting of our spirits. We feel this at a deep level as we take just a moment away from the noise and the confusion and the chaos. We breathe in peace, and we breathe out. And we breathe in comfort, and we breathe out. We see ourselves surrounded in light, individually and collectively across our planet. We are surrounded in the healing, loving light of spirit. We feel the comfort and the joy of that. We recognize our oneness. And we take that sense into the silence of our hearts and the silence of our minds. We feel the joy of the coming together of our minds the joy of the coming together of our spirits. We know the connection of being one. We are healed in that knowing. We move forward in anticipation of great physical, spiritual, and emotional healing. And we open ourselves to that now. We affirm the knowing. We affirm the good. We affirm the greatness within us. We are that expression of God. We are that expression of spirit. We celebrate that. We embrace that. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Amen.
As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me, my heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is. It brings me to my knees. I surrender. I am peace.
It's Sunday.
It's Sunday, and per usual, got the wrong key.
I
It's
love
not
it.
you, Matt. Here we go, baby. Here we go.
Here we go.
We're going to do that one more time.
With feeling.
Yeah, with feeling. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes to see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I hear so gentle spirit say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only
Yes, you can still applaud even if you're at home. Thank you, thank you, thank you, gentlemen. You know, just because it looks different here, it takes just as much, sometimes even more effort doing it this way. But you know what? You guys have got it. My helpers got it. And God's got it. That's what I know. We are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind. Through prayer and meditation, we align our heart-mind with God. Denials and affirmations are tools we use. And then there's a virus. Epidemics unfold as social dramas in 3 acts, according to Dr. Rosenberg, who is a physician and a psychologist. He says the first act is this, that citizens, people in general, ignore clues. That's what we do. The early signs are quite subtle, and whether this is influenced by the desire for self-reassurance or just a need to protect our economic interests, we just ignore the clues. The second thing in an epidemic like this is recognition launches the second act. And it is the one where people start to demand explanations and actions. And they're looking for somebody to blame. This can really wind up the third act. And the third act is where the epidemic eventually resolves. And they do. These times pass. This too shall pass, as my grandma always used to say. Wasn't always fond of that because I thought, then what's it doing here? If it just came to pass, what's it doing here? I never did get the answer to that. What Dr. Rosenberg tells us is that epidemics start at a moment in time, and then they proceed through these stages. They follow a plot line. Actually, one of tension that moves to crisis. But what is also seen is the individual and collective character changes as we as humans start to move through these things. And then we drift toward closure. I'm ready to get there. How about you? Patience is not my strong virtue. I'm not affirming that. I just know it. Recently, I heard a conversation right here in our spiritual home, and it went like this. How are you? How are things for you in all this chaos? And the answer was, to my surprise, I heard them say, I'm scared. And the other person kind of nonchalantly said, really? And the answer was, yes, I'm scared. And there it was for me, right here in this room as I listened to that. The conflict, if you will, the angst that I suspect by the content of our prayer requests, by some of the conversations I've had, the angst that we're experiencing in this time. You know, we're the keepers of positive thought. You know, we're the great promoters of being co-creators with God. And how do I reconcile that in this time? It is through prayer and meditation that we align our heart, mind with God. And today we use hand sanitizer. Right? I'm struggling. I am struggling, folks, with trying to figure out how to reconcile this. How do I conform and be responsible and not get caught up in the noise of this? How do I stand in the integrity of what we teach in these rooms? How do I stand in integrity with those teachings and yet be afraid and run to the grocery store because of the lack, the consciousness of lack that we are experiencing across the planet? I just heard a story that a semi-truck, did you say a semi-truck? 1,800 pounds, was that it?
18,000.
18,000. Oh, that's not much of a difference, Penny. 18,000 pounds of toilet paper was heisted. This is a consciousness of lack. How do I stay in integrity with our teachings and stay in alignment with the conforming of the guidelines and what we're being told we need to do. Personally, I am struggling with this. And I was hoping that by today I would have come up with some grand answer, some great resolution to this, so that I could impart that wisdom to you. I didn't get there. I'm not there. I still have notes, but I'm still not there. You know, who do we believe? How do I function in this? How do I operate in this? How do I move forward? How do I continue to grow spiritually? How do I do that? Now, this isn't very comforting, me throwing all these questions at you, I am certain. And I am certain that some of you maybe have thought I would come with some great answer. Don't turn off the video. I haven't arrived at an answer. I don't know about you, but there's internal conflict. And maybe for you there isn't. Maybe you're just moving through this with ease and grace. Man, I am praying for that feeling. I wake up in the morning and I think, peace, 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 grace. Move through this with grace, Penny. And I get up and I feel it in my body. I feel it in my home. I see it in my kitty. The angst of what is smoldering on the planet. Now, we have had experiences in this world before that have caused us to have to move through these kind of moments. But I can't remember one quite like this for me in my lifetime. And then I discovered it's not because it hasn't happened. It's because of where I am. It's the consciousness I have. I want to remain in my strong spiritual self. I want to really believe, these principles that we teach can pull us out of this. And then all I have to do is watch the news. I am struggling with the reconciliation of how do I conform? How do I support good science? How do I show up in this world and practice and stay in the spiritual integrity that I desire to be in? When I say conform, I'm not just talking about the number of seconds that we're supposed to wash our hands, which changes from day to day, right? I'm not just talking about the distance that we're supposed to have between each other. And I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. I didn't realize what a hugger I am, right? I didn't realize what an impact that has in my life. But I'm not just talking about that conforming. I'm talking about when we get caught up in the consciousness of the world and we start to question all of this spiritual teaching and all of these principles and all of these things that we've practiced, some of us for years. There's definitely a consciousness that is happening on the planet. However, you knew there was going to be a however. This could be a time where we review our baseline thinking. Where do our hearts and minds go? Next week, we're going to talk about observing the observer. We're going to talk about watching ourselves show up in these situations. That's fair warning that you get to think about that this week. But right now, if you're like me, do you feel a sense of inner conflict? The heart and the mind are running off in different directions. And if you're experiencing that, is it possible that we could take that conforming, that knowing good science, listening to what we're being told we should do physically, and envelop it in a consciousness of collaboration? Last week we talked about the renewing of the mind. And I shared a quote from the book of Romans. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and prove what God's will is, the good, pleasing, and perfect will. What if we took all this energy, and I want you to think about globally how much energy of fear there is right now. Just for a moment, don't hang on to it, just consider it. Consider the magnitude of that. What if we took all of that fear and the unknown and the lack consciousness and the angst? And I am not affirming that these are the things that define us. However, I am confirming that that is an experience that people are having, and I'm one of them. But what if we took all of that and we embraced it with collaboration? What if we said, I see it, I know it to be true, people are suffering. What is the next best thing that I can do? Now, we have amazing people out there working round the clock. We've got healthcare workers, nurses, and doctors, and PRNs, and RNs, and CNAs, and we've got people all over the planet that are knocking themselves out to keep us safe and healthy. And I am in complete gratitude for those folks, but I'm not one of them. I don't have that skill set. So what do I do? Well, you're a minister, Penny. You can pray. We can all pray. But the first thing we do is we acknowledge the fear and the angst that is present. We don't just shove that aside and smear it over with a positive thought. We refrain from being dismissive to people when they say they're afraid. It doesn't mean we have to buy into it, but folks, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we really get to show up as spiritual beings and exercise those teachings that we know, that we are, that we believe in. We acknowledge what is happening. And we start to envelop that in a gentle and loving way with our teachings, with our principles, with our consciousness. And then we turn it up. We turn it up. If you meditate twice a day, I challenge you to meditate 4 times a day. If you pray once a day, I challenge you to pray 15 times a day. I challenge you to turn every thought that you have into a prayer about the healing of this planet, not only from a virus, but from the depth of disconnection, from the depth of who we think we aren't, that we pray into that we meditate into that we use these tools that we know work. It doesn't matter if it requires a little hand sanitizer. It's okay. Our tools are still there. This is the time. This is when we get to really show up and be those spiritual beings. This isn't the time that my spiritual being gets brought into question. This is the time that my spiritual being steps into her consciousness. This is when she shows up and she says, I can hold a higher thought. And I am not saying that that is all that needs to be done, because that is not all that needs to be done. Wash your hands, folks.
Amen.
Right? Thank you. Wash your hands and pray. Practice social distancing and meditate. Hold a higher thought about this. We get to be an example at this time in this world for people that have no tools. And when they look around and they go, how are they staying so calm? How are they staying so in integrity? How are they able to be so honest with themselves that they're a little bit afraid? Because they've got the tools. Because they know they are one with God. They know that they are one with all. They know that the power of consciousness changes the experience we have when we're in an experience like this. I can't stand here because I don't have the belief enough in myself to say I can stand here and meditate coronavirus away. I don't have that kind of power. I'm not saying there aren't people that don't. There may very well be people that can do that. Get on it. But I'm not one of those. But what I can do is I can stand here and say I can hold a higher thought. I can absolutely hold a higher thought. I can stabilize my mind. I can stabilize my thinking. And I can see the healing that this virus is bringing to us, not just the opportunity to come up with a vaccine, not just an opportunity to come up with a fix for it or a healing of it, but the healing that we get to move through when we are in times that are trials, that truly are tribulations, and those are not words we use in unity very often. But this is the time that our spiritual tools should be amplified, not put away, which is where I was at earlier in the week. How can I possibly get up and deliver a Sunday message and tell people to hold the right thoughts when they are scared to death that that test that they just took is going to come back positive? I can't, in good consciousness, do that. However, I can hold a higher thought for you. And if that test comes back positive, I can tell you that we are here to support you in that. I can tell you that we will surround you in light, that we will hold you in a consciousness, that you are brought into a higher way of thinking about this, and your experience around it will change. It will change, and we will change the experience that this planet is having right now. Turn it up, folks. Turn it up. Hello, world, it's me. Hello. It's the new me. It's the one that is no longer afraid to say, I've got some tools. You want them? You want to learn about these? You want to hear about these? Let me support you in moving to a place of peace. Let me hold that thought for you. Let me see a new experience for you in this. Affirming what we know to be true in our practices is absolutely critical at this time. We remember that we are the essence of God. That is critical at this time. I can get into all those conversations. Then why would God let this happen? Why would this happen? I can't answer that. But the God that I believe in, and the God that I trust, and the God that I practice is the God within me. And this God within me says, turn it up. Let's show what fear can look like when it's enveloped in love and in light. Let's hold that thought for this planet and for everyone. Because right now, we are standing on a precipice. And that is, I can step this way and I can be afraid, and I can buy in and I can conform to the thinking of the world, or I can step this way and I can take my teachings and my knowing and my trust and my faith, and I can collaborate with good science, and I can hold a higher thought, and I can model that in my conversations, and every one of them doesn't have to be about the coronavirus. Instead of, so how's isolation for you? It could be, have you had a chance to reconnect? We had a journaling group this morning on Zoom, and that Zoom link is available on our website also. We had a journaling group this morning, and it was awesome. And we have learned a new way of being with each other. We were able to come together in a new way, and all of a sudden, nobody even noticed that we weren't in the same room. This is the time that we get to start looking at things differently, and we have the opportunity to say, wow, this is what it feels like to be connected. Have you noticed how happy your animals at home are? Look how much time you're at home. That's a really great thing for them. And it is just a tiny little microcosm of the reconnecting that we're doing with ourselves and with each other. In this journaling group, one of the ladies said that she's been reaching out and making long, long phone calls with people that she hadn't connected with in a long time. Let's remember that when the vaccine comes and the virus is gone. Let's remember that it is good to be cautious and it's better to be conscious. Let's remember that it's not just about isolating, it's about integrating our tools and our open hearts and our open minds. We can say hello to the world in a whole new way. In the midst of this, we can do that. We can model our higher thinking, the Christ consciousness, the Christ consciousness. And I'm not talking about a man, I'm talking about your consciousness around this. Folks, let's turn it up. Let's collaborate with what we know to be true at the soul of who we are. We don't have to buy into this. We don't have to buy into this. I encourage you. 1-800-NOW-PRAY, Silent Unity, they're 24/7. Call them. I encourage you to pick up that phone and call those people you haven't talked to in a long time because your life is so busy. I encourage you to turn it up. Who are we going to be in this? Who are we going to be? Say hello, world. It's a brand new day. And I'm celebrating all that can hold. Namaste.
Thank you, Penny. And I think there's a new song coming from Matt called Turn It Up. But in the meantime, new song called Hello World. You want to say anything about it?
Josie and I had a chance to take a walk this morning and met a neighbor who was out knocking on the neighbors' doors, looking to see if anybody needed anything. So there's ways to get out there and still do things and feel valuable instead of sitting at home. So this song's about that. Actually, I'm in the wrong key, Wiley. I pulled a Wiley.
It's not just me.
Peas in a pod.
Thank you, Jesus.
Well, I can sit at home feeling sorry for myself, putting boxes of excuses up on the shelf. But there's so much that I can do to feel better about myself, put a smile upon my face and find somebody I could help. So hello world, it's me, and I've got reasons to believe that I could be the difference if only by degrees. And I am only one, but I could be the one to lend a helping hand to someone else in need. And I say, hello world, hello world, hello world, it's me. Well, I don't need falling, so tipping through our hands. But as long as there's a moment, we still have a chance to live out loud, to go down fast, swinging for the fence, drinking deeply from the well of life with friends we have barely met. So hello world, it's me, and I've got reasons to believe that I could be the difference if only by degrees. And I am only one, but I could be the one to lend a helping hand to someone else in need. And I say, hello world, hello world, hello world, it's me. And I sing, hello world, This is heaven on, it's heaven on, it's heaven on this earth. And I believe it's heaven on, heaven on, heaven on this earth. And I will say, hello world, it's me. I've got reason to believe that I can be the difference if only by degrees. I'm only one, but I could be the one to lend a helping hand to someone else in need. And I'll say, hello world, hello world, hello world, it's me. And I say, hello world, hello world, hello world, it's me. I say, hello world, hello world, hello world, it's me. Hello world.
See, this is where I really miss hugging.
Absolutely, yes.
Yay! Okay, round of applause. Do this at home. Yay. Okay. All right. So it's just different, isn't it? It's just different, and that's okay. Because we are strong enough, and we are smart enough, and we are conscious enough to do this, folks. www.unityofflagstaff.org. Say that with me. www.unityofflagstaff.org. You will find all the information, the links, all of those things that you need so that you can get to our Thursday meditation, which is at 6:30 on Thursday on our YouTube channel. The links to our Zoom meetings, our journaling group, as well as our virtual prayer circle that'll be this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. You'll have all access to all those links via the website. If for some reason you cannot get to the website or you're having a struggle, I would like for you to email me at revpennyhoney, that's REVPENNIHONEY, all one word, at gmail.com. Tell me what you can get to or what you can't get to. We're here to support you. We also have a Good Samaritan exchange going. If you are somebody that cannot or choose not to leave your home right now and you need support, you need to email me. You need to call the church. All that information also is on the website. We have a team of people that are waiting to help you. This is who we are in this time. This is who we are. And the lights are still on, and your minister still wants to get paid. And I appreciate you being willing to go to our donate page on www.unityofflagstaff.org. Folks, you can make a donation right there. If you're not comfortable with that, send it to us. We have this fabulous little P.O. box that I can go into all by myself and I don't bother anybody. It's P.O. Box 1740 Flagstaff 86002. Thank you for remembering us. And those of you who are auto-tithing, that's being taken care of and stays in place. We appreciate you doing that. Let's see, is there anything else I should be telling you? At this moment, I don't think so, other than be well, stay healthy. Let's be conscious of who we are in this time and what is ours to do. I bless you. I thank you. I miss you. Namaste.
Yes, and right where you are, let's sing one round of Creed of the Heart. Our God is love, our race is human, our religion is oneness. That's the creed of the heart. Our God is love, our race is human, our religion is oneness.